All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Game of Thrones video for today, leading up to the series finale for Game of Thrones, the final episode. In this one, we're going to give our thoughts first on whether or not we think Jon will stand by Daenerys after what she's done. And spoiler warning, as per usual, if you guys are not caught up for Game of Thrones, which is up to the second last episode of the series, episode 5 of season 8. Great, so in this one, we're going to give our thoughts first on how we're feeling about this one going into the finale. So one final episode, and then this epic series is over. It's in the books. We will never see Game of Thrones again, aside from maybe prequels or whatever spin-off series actually end up finishing and actually getting done, which it's really too early to tell right now. We'll have to see what they have for us in the next few years. But this is it. This is the end. And, I'm excited to see how things actually turn out and how the story finishes or ends. I've actually seen a lot of people, more people, upset with Season 8 than almost any other season prior of the whole series, except for the first season. The first season, and then, of course, the Red Wedding, people were upset because, you saw, spoiler warning, Eddard be killed. A lot of people didn't think, that was going to happen because Sean Bean seemed like he was the lead for the series, and that turned out to kind of be a twist in the very first season, so some people were upset about that. And then after the events of the Red Wedding, some people were upset about that too. But pretty much ever since then, I haven't really seen this much complaining over Game of Thrones until season 8. Right, a lot of people are not liking what they're seeing right now for the end of Game of Thrones. Maybe they're feeling like it's not, just not what they wanted to see, or it's not up to the same standards that the prior, parts of the series were, in terms of maybe the sophistication. Maybe it's too, basic or something, or just the deaths, like, Cersei and Jaime having things land on them, and just, like in the building, fall and the rocks and everything. Just people felt like there should have been something more than that, if it was to be honest, to Game of Thrones fashion. That theory of the Night King going to King's Landing and wiping the place out and then bringing all the dead with him to Winterfell and having some kind of secondary battle there or something. That's kind of a cool theory. I almost wonder if people would have liked that better. And then have the Night King be the absolute final villain of the show instead of sort of Daenerys or Cersei. However this is going to go by the time it's done. Let me know what you guys think about that one too. Would you have preferred that? Would you have preferred to see the Night King go to King's Landing with the undead dragon, wipe it out, and take all the dead with him from there down, and have the others have to kind of beat him in a similar kind of fashion? But, you get a couple battles with the White Walkers and, some kind of epic battle in the end there of good versus evil type of thing. Then Daenerys wouldn't be looked at as kind of a villain right now like she is being looked at. So the big question for this one is Jon going to stay by her side now that she's done what she's done? So she's done some brutal stuff here. She's killed a lot of people. Some people are saying, well, at certain times of the series, they've said there's about 1 million people in the capital, in King's Landing. And so if she killed most of them, a good portion of them in what she just did, then, the death toll for what she did could be close to 1 million or half, or, that's a lot. That's a lot of people. And, you can't really come back from that. There's nothing you can really say afterwards to make that okay. Jon was there. We got to see it in the episode. Jon saw all the chaos ensuing. He saw Daenerys's, one of her lieutenants of the Unsullied, Grey Worm, start just killing people with reckless abandon. The other men joining in, and just all hell break loose after Daenerys did not accept their surrender and continued to punish and continued to, kill. Even after they had laid down their swords, even, just random people that were just there, civilians, women, children, burnt by fire just everywhere. Just brutal, man. A very vicious turn for Daenerys. There's no doubt about that. So is Jon going to stand by her? I don't think so at all, because we had the scene in episode 5 where she's kind of talking to him about being about her being his queen and this kind of stuff, and then her kind of asking him if if that's all that she was to him. And he did say he loved her, but then he's kind of like, he's kind of in between. He said he loved her, and then after he's kind of like, like is that all she? And it's kind of, it's sort of some mixed things here. And I guess the takeaways from that scene were that he's loyal to her, but maybe he no longer sees her in the same kind of way now that he knows that they're family, or just whatever's happened, he doesn't feel okay with maybe being intimate with her or something. I'm not sure, and maybe that also helped push her kind of over the edge. It depends on how you want to, read that scene. But basically, she can choose between love and fear. She tried love most of the way throughout the series and leading through love, and it didn't work. It wasn't working enough to where she was going to be able to rule and do what she had to do. So she decided it's going to be fear then, and that's what she did. And she went crazy, right? So I think at this point, when Jon sees what has happened, and Jon's always been someone who's wanted to fight for the living, and that's his even like back to Mance and the others, he wants to fight for the living. That's what he wants to do. And these random people, that were just in the streets, and the women and children and younger boys and people that are just getting torched by Dragonflame. I don't think he's going to stay by her side. No, I don't think he can. I mean, how can you stay by her and be with her and be intimate with her and do all that stuff after this has happened? I mean, I don't know. He's been through a lot, so, he kind of wants to bend the knee, as we've seen, and Sansa sort of called him out on it a little bit, because Sansa kind of saw this all ahead of time, I would say. Even when we didn't, as fans, we didn't see it. She kind of did sort of call it ahead of time. So I don't think Jon's going to stand by her. I think that maybe he'll either leave or he'll maybe possibly be involved in a coup here, because they were kind of talking about it before, and Varys was killed as a result of that. Those conversations at Dragonstone, was it? Before, I would think so, but yeah, before they went to the mainland for the final battle there. So I'm going to say I don't think he's going to stand by her side, and I don't think we're going to get to see that Jon and Daenerys power couple thing in the end like they had been doing in Season 7 and in Season 8. And a lot of fans were really happy at the beginning when they were together, and they were working well together. And, it's kind of sad, right? It kind of saddens me that that's probably not going to be. But if Jon was to be with her now, I don't think it would make sense for him, right? Unless he's just going to do it to try to maintain peace or something. But yeah, it just doesn't. Man, it's kind of sad, because I did kind of want to see that. I did kind of want to. Unless she's pregnant or something from them before, but I don't know. I don't think so, right? So leave your comments below. Let me know what you guys think about that first one. Will Jon stand by her side? I say no, I don't think he will. Dino says, I don't understand why everyone is so upset with the episode. I thought it was the best episode of the season. Daenerys realized she can't gain respect of people by love, but only by fear, as she herself said in the episode. She knows people will never accept her over Jon. There were many signs over the seasons which indicated her going on a rampage eventually. Also glad the producers have finally grown some balls after so many seasons and avoided fan service for once. That's true. Everything he said here is probably true. So I'm happy that Dino enjoyed it. I'm happy he liked them going against the grain and doing something that was different from what we would have kind of expected, even though we all kind of expected Game of Thrones to have some twists in it. I guess it was a twist in a way. It's just a twist that it was on the side of the hero, which we're not necessarily that used to in the world of Game of Thrones, to see that. But Bronn, if you look at Bronn earlier, Bronn was always a cool guy throughout the series, and this season, he just didn't give a shit at all. And I was kind of saddened by that too, because I was looking forward to some of his zingers or some of his stuff, or him wanting to be involved, and he's just like, no, that's it. He's had enough. So I don't know. It's strange stuff. So, but I'm glad some of you guys haven't been. I've been enjoying it either way. I'm just kind of saddened that we didn't get to see that Jon Daenerys thing. I guess it's better than Cersei having killed them both, but it still makes me sad. Quentin Cottard says, we don't want a happy ending, just an ending that makes sense. It's like, yeah, I hear you. It's it's a bit of maybe it's a little bit of a stretch to see her go from breaker of chains, even though she's lost a lot of things have happened. She hasn't eaten for a couple days, whatever. Jon is kind of iffy on their relationship going forward. It's not working for her, and she just decides that she's gonna burn the city and kill everybody. It's crazy to see. I'm very saddened by it. I don't know if you could say, okay, it doesn't make sense for her to do that. It's like, well, it's a little bit of a stretch, I think, but because of how good of a person she seemed earlier. But I guess she has that that vicious Targaryen blood, that vicious Mad Queen side of her, and it's just kind of finally come out, right? It's just finally kind of come out. The dragon being a dragon, right? And there it is. Redface says, sucked. That's his comment. It's just sucked. So, not everybody's happy with it. Even Clegane Bowl, for example, that was one that we had wanted to see for a very, very long time. And unfortunately, it was good and everything. I like the eye crush and stuff and the fight and everything. But it, because all that stuff was going on with Daenerys and everything else, the battle for me was just like, it took a back seat to this big character change that Daenerys went through. That's why I said in my review, this is a character episode, not a battle episode. And I stick to that. I still feel that way. I felt like the change in Daenerys and her annihilating everybody took precedence over whatever fights or whatever cool battles were going on. It took precedence over it. So I'll say it this way. It's not my favorite episode of Game of Thrones in the series. Like, for some people it probably is, because seeing the dragon burn everything was unbelievable. The effects and everything were unbelievable. It was so cool at the beginning, and it was very unexpected and very surprising. And they got me, because I didn't see that turn at that time, and for her to do that, I didn't think she was going to do that. I thought Cersei might have some other, plans up her sleeve, like maybe Daenerys goes and lands on the Capitol building or right where she is, and maybe Cersei has it, laced with wildfire explosives, and maybe Drogon lands at the top, and she blows the thing up, and he gets injured and goes down or something, and then the fighting ensues, and the one who wins ends up winning, and the good guys win or something. That's kind of more of what I was thinking, that we might see something like that. Or maybe Drogon gets hit by a couple of the ballista things, and he finishes the rest off, but he's down and whatever, and then you see Jon and the others are fighting, and something like that. Clegane Bowl occurs, but it actually means something. They're not just fighting because whatever, and Daenerys is going to destroy the whole thing anyway, and then they end up dying by falling off, falling out because Daenerys has blown everything to bits with Drogon. So Yeah, I hear it. I still think it was an amazing episode and everything that they did. But maybe The Long Night will go down as my favorite episode of the series. I'm not sure. I don't know. You guys let me know. What's your all-time favorite episode of Game of Thrones right now? We have one left, but I doubt it'll surpass what we've seen before. Some of those big battle episodes of Game of Thrones are amazing. Or for some of you, maybe you think episode 5 is the greatest episode they've ever done. Leave a comment below and let me know too, because I want to see where the fan base is at. It always interests me to see how people are responding to things and how they like a big turn like that. And I'm still kind of iffy in the middle on how people are actually feeling. I feel like most people didn't really like it that much, but some people really did. So go Cougs. Or Go Cougs 28TX says, I'm good with how it's going. Probably could have used about 3 or 4 more episodes to lay the foundation for what's going on. That's a good comment. The last 2 seasons, the pacing has been crazy. You haven't seen any travel or anything like that, and you feel like there isn't as much of a build-up to some of these events that occur. They shrunk it down to the 7 and 6, right? 7 episodes, 6 episodes. Is that right? I'm pretty sure. It's been a while now. It's been a couple years since season 7, right? But, they probably could have done 10 and 10. Some of them are extended and that whole thing too. They probably could have done a little bit more. They probably could have done another season if they wanted to, or maybe 2. You know what I mean? If they kept the pacing they had before, maybe then some of the character transformations would feel more sort of. They'd have more time to set it up, like he's saying here, to kind of set up the whole Mad Queen thing and give her a little bit more. We saw a little bit of it, like with the Tarleys, but even that felt pretty natural because they just would not do, they wouldn't play ball. So, it's tough, man. I'm still satisfied with how it's ending and everything, and I guess what happens is a lot of times people just get to the point where they've been working on something so hard for so many years. they just want it to be over. They just want to wrap it up. They just want to end it. And maybe when they went to that stage, they decided, let's just do 7 and 6 and wrap this thing up in big fashion, and that'll be it. We'll be done with it. Kind of feels like that's what ended up happening. So, but 8 years, 9 years, if you count the year off or whatever, the year in between, however many years it's been. Amazing stuff, and I appreciate everything they've done for us. And if this is how they're going to wrap it up, then okay, it's what it is. I'm pretty satisfied with it, but I know a lot of people aren't. Last one from Jon Lochert says, if they wanted to do the Mad Queen approach, they should have allowed the story to build up to that point. We should have seen the progression of it. 8 years of character development gets flipped on its head in an instant. Yes, it was shocking, but when a long time protagonist starts torching innocent women and people, or women and children, it really does feel like her development was all pretty much for nothing. Just my opinion. It's a big twist, right? It's a big twist. It's one that we have never... Have we ever seen that before in Game of Thrones? I'm trying to think. Now, you have characters that start out as villains like Jaime, and eventually they kind of work their way into being sort of in the middle, and then kind of good guys with the Long Night helping to fight and do everything they're doing, and then kind of maybe goes back a little bit to Cersei. But, they kind of go back and forth a little bit. This one is so drastic. It's like the hero of the series and then the villain of the series, I don't know if I could say she was ever as heroic as Jon, but with the Breaker of Chains stuff, it felt like she kind of was, wanting to end slavery, wanting to do all this. It was good stuff. And, she certainly has changed a lot. But I guess, if you think about it, if you have certain people you care about in your life, for her it was Jorah, Sunday, and, of course, Grey Worm's in there too. And then she feels betrayed by Tyrion. She feels betrayed by, of course, Varys, even though that's to be expected. But even Jon, she's not 100% certain on how Jon's feeling about her and whether or not they're going to be able to continue a serious relationship together, be intimate together. I guess she just kind of felt like she lost basically everything, and all she had left, and she lost the other dragon too, which is like losing one of her children. So she had enough. She was able to win, and she decided that she was going to finish off everybody, I guess. I guess she decided they weren't with her, and she was going to clean them out. But it was pretty brutal to see. Anyway, that'll be it for today's video, guys. Let me know where you're at. How are you feeling after a couple days since that big episode 5? A few more days left, and we get to see the final episode. I'm sad, but I'm also really excited. And to wrap it up, I don't think Jon will stay with Daenerys now after what she's done. I don't think it's in character for him to do it. Let me know what you guys think. If you like the video, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and subscribe if you're new. Thanks for all your support over the years, guys, with Game of Thrones. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. I'll see you guys tomorrow.